So is your New Year's diet the real deal or just a passing fad? Well, Hasan and I are going to go over some telltale signs to let you know if it's worth sticking to or, maybe just leave it in the past. So this is from uprocks.com, and the first thing they say is that if a diet promotes an unsustainable habit, like eating nothing but one food or a strictly limited set of foods, or requires you to basically eat the brand's processed foods from now until the end of time, it's not going to work in the long term, which I absolutely agree with. I think those diets are not sustainable. The diets where you have to buy the food from the one organization, they ship it to you, and they say one easy shipment every month or something like that.
Seems like a money-making or machine.
Almost like a scheme,
yeah,
wouldn't you say?
Weird.
Also, another thing that I thought was really important is that scientifically, if we're accountable to a friend, we're more likely to stick with the diet. So a way that I have done this in the past is just to speak it out loud. And the only diet that I've ever really been on, and this is really sad, guys, but whatever, is when I stopped drinking about a year ago, a little over a year ago. And when I started telling it to my friends, you have to stick to it a little bit more, because then if I'm out and I'm drinking again, then it sort of becomes a question, like, why? I thought you said you weren't drinking. And that
Do you
sort
have
of
no
discomfort,
backbone, for
yeah,
example?
I do drink on occasions like, my anniversary and my birthday and whatnot. But for the most part, and for about 6 months, I didn't drink at all. So, yay me!
Except for that one time I saw you with your two friends when you did the most ridiculous pelvic thrust.
I wasn't drinking.
You were so...
Yeah,
no,
I wasn't drinking.
that is impossible.
That's what is the saddest thing, is that
Allegedly.
so many people think I'm drunk when I go out.
Wait, there's no way you were not drunk that night. The night with Will?
Yeah,
and
I
your
wasn't
two friends?
drinking. I wasn't drinking.
You sober
I was-
thrusted me?
I was in a great mood. It was two of my friends from Belgium. I was high on life.
I was confused, but now I'm even more confused.
So,
Wow.
but what I would say is that about that dietary change, because I was consuming a lot of alcohol previous, it really did help to have my friends hold me accountable and just to speak it out loud. So that's a good tip. And if you aren't telling your friends about a dietary change, perhaps you aren't thinking that you'll stick with it. Also, to the effect of saying that things are scientifically proven, you should really find those studies and put them to the scientific smell test. If you can't find the actual study that they are basing their research off of, it likely doesn't exist. Or if they funded the study themselves, if it's like a company or it's a weight loss program, you should be a little bit skeptical. It's worth having a critical eye when it comes to a major diet change. Another thing that you should make sure if you're changing your diet is go to your doctor. One of the biggest problems people have is that they don't listen to their doctors, so book a checkup and tell your doctor about your concerns. And this is also really good because if they have already heard something about a specific diet, or if they have never heard of a specific dietary change, it's just good to talk to an expert. And hopefully you have a doctor. I don't have a doctor, so I can't even do that. And then this is my favorite thing. If you remember the skeptic's mantra, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So when you are embarking on a new diet, make sure that you have the evidence and the conclusions to back whatever serious life change you are embarking on. If a diet insists you have a disease your doctor didn't notice, that you've been eating the, quote, wrong way, that some corporation is secretly killing you or is putting forth some other claim that's attention-getting or exploiting a fear or anxiety, that's your cue to demand proof. So those are some tips from uprocks.com that you should be implementing if you're trying a new diet change. Hasan, do you have anything to add to that?
So last year on Pop Crunch, on this very channel, I did a piece called Why New Year's Resolutions Suck and Why You Suck and You Won't Keep with Them. Because according to science...
I missed that one.
You must have missed that one. It was rather successful. You guys should go check that out. We'll link it in the description below. Thank you, Amir. Amir is going to link it in the description below.
Amir's not going to do that.
So, yeah, one study showed that only 8 people who make resolutions succeed in keeping, only 8% of people succeed in actually keeping up with their New Year's resolutions.
8 people! Are you one of the lucky 8?
Out of, like, billions.
Out of 7 billion?
No, yeah, unfortunately, 75% of people only stick it for the first week of January, and then by the first 6 months of the year, that number has gone down to 46%.
So, Hasan, why don't people stick to a New Year's resolution?
Because a diet doesn't start on a Monday. When you think about like these pivotal moments, like you're not going to be a different person because the year is changing. It's still the same. It's one day after the next. It's no different. If you want to start losing weight or if you want to change your life, you need to do it right now. And also there's different reasons. I mean, there's different ways to do it. If we're going to talk specifically about diets, which this article pertains to,
We are.
there are so many different things that you need to do. For example, one good point that the article was talking about is just like these fad diets. Almost every diet is a fad. You need to be able to make sure that this diet you can keep up with for the rest of your life. Now, obviously, at first, that means that it's not going to be super sexy and you're not going to lose a lot of weight right up front. But eventually, you will slowly but surely lose a lot of weight and ensure that you don't yo-yo diet, which is very common amongst dieters where they gain all of the weight back and more as soon as they're done with their diets.
But they'll drop weight
They'll
really
drop
quickly.
it quickly and then they'll gain it and put on more weight right after. So if you are overweight, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're probably going to have to diet for the rest of your life because what got you to that point was the fact that you weren't dieting, which means that your resting metabolic rate, your body is more conducive to being overweight. So you have to ensure that it's something that you can do for the rest of your life. That sounds really painful and scary, but trust me, if you cut out cookies and weird like sugary things and even something as simple as like soda, you will probably see over a longer period of time a positive change, and it'll be much easier to do. So just do it. Just do it now. Do it today. Don't wait for the New Year's. Don't wait for a Monday. Just start doing it. Wake up one morning and do it and hold yourself accountable and aim for shorter term goals that will eventually lead to longer term goals. Like aim for 21 days. It's like this is another pseudoscientific fact, but it's said that it takes 21 days to develop a healthy habit. And in my personal experience, it only takes around 2 to break one.
To break a healthy habit.
To break a healthy habit. If you don't go to the gym for 2 days in a row or 3 days in a row, it's very easy for you to stop going to the gym.
Yeah, I also think it's important to start something that you can reasonably assume you could fit into your daily life. Because your day-to-day life, unless you did go through a dramatic change of location or job or whatever, chances are you're starting the new year maybe with a new mindset, but with a very similar life as to you had in 2016. So if you're going to try a new diet, I think it's important to work on something that you can reasonably assume you could have consistency with in your day-to-day life, something that won't be a stretch. So, for example, I think a good example is the shipment food that come to your house, where you buy into a program like Nutrisystem or something, and they send all this food to you. If that shipment is late, then you're like, oh, whoa, what am I going to do? Or if you aren't full at the end of the little food thing that they give you, or you go out to eat with friends, do you not go out?
It's just such a drastic change, and
you know what's funny though?
That's why it doesn't work. Like you just need to make sure that your diet works around your life. Like you mentioned, you bring up a really good point, and you also need to be able to. There are definitely diets out there, and by the way, every body type and every personality requires a different type of dieting. That's why I'm a binge eater, for example, so I practice intermittent fasting. I wouldn't recommend it for anyone, but my body is so used to just working out and not eating anything until 7 p.m. that I'm totally comfortable. And when I do eat during the day before I work out, it usually has an adverse effect on my body. I become sleepy and drowsy. So one, you can train yourself to do anything. You can adapt to any given situation. But most importantly, there's really basic stuff that you should always think about, like calories in, calories out, and ensuring that you can continue the diet for the rest of your life, which sounds scary, but it's not really that scary because I still eat a bunch of terrible things every now and then. I give myself some breathing room, and just not give up. And a big part of the problem with these drastic changes is that as soon as you mess up, you're like, oh man.
You feel like you failed.
Yeah, you feel like you failed. All of a sudden, you're even more upset than when you had first started. You feel like a failure. That leads you to eat more, and then you're gaining even more weight than you originally had started off with.
Yeah, I would say diet with reason and moderation, and just take care of yourself and listen to your body and listen to your doctor, and also make sure that you have good people in your life that will hold you accountable. So for example, if you are trying to eat a certain way and not eat certain foods, make sure that your friends know that, so that when you go out to eat somewhere, maybe they can be encouraging of that. And
if you have a friend like me, definitely let them know, because they will tell you you're a fat fuck if you eat anything. And by the way, newsflash, I'm serious. I mean, it worked with me and Amir. Like, we held each other accountable, and me and Will still hold each other accountable when it comes to this sort of stuff. And when we see each other eating foods that...
You guys are a little mean about it, though.
Yeah, you're supposed to be. It would hurt
my feelings.
Yeah, 100%. Your feelings are supposed to be hurt.
Okay, well, hey,
Don't
guys,
be fat.
We want to hear from you in the comment section below. What do you think about these diet tips? What do you think are some good pieces of advice that you could share maybe with other viewers about ways to stick to a New Year's resolution and New Year's diet? Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you next time on Pop Trigger.